Hi, I am Dr. Abbas Malik, and I am your instructor for this mobile app development course. We will be developing the application using the Flutter. It's a Google supported framework using the Dart programming language. It is a single code base that we can use to develop the application for the multiple platforms like Android, iOS, Windows, Mac, Linux, even for the web. So if you have not subscribed this channel, then please subscribe it and press on the bell icon so that you can receive the notification for our new videos. So let's start. This is the second lecture in this series. So in the first one, we have talked about what is Flutter, why it is important, and then we also talk about how we can develop a programming learning environment in which you can develop the applications using the Flutter for multiple platforms. So today we will take that discussion further, and we will talk how we can design the UI user interfaces in the Flutter. So in the Flutter, the basic slogan is everything is a widget. So what is a widget? Widget is a building block of our user interfaces. It is immutable declaration of part of the UI. Immutable mean once you have declared it, once you have created it, when you started your application, you have created that instance of that class. Every widget is actually a class. So when you create that instance, then after that you cannot change the things. You cannot change its value. So that's why we call it immutable declaration of the part of the UI. Describe all aspects of user interfaces, physical aspects like it is a text, it's a button, it's an input field, it is an image. So we can see all those things. We need to scroll down, which is a list view. So we have different type of physical aspects of those widgets or the user interface components. Then we also have the layout components. Layout aspects mean that how we are arranging all these visual components from our user interfaces, how we can arranging them on the screen or the window or the page. You can say that. So we are putting them into a horizontal direction, we are putting them into a vertical direction, into a tabular form. If we want to leave some space between two different elements, then how we can do some margins. If we can specify the padding, we can align them into the center of the screen, in the left of the screen, right of the screen. So all these aspects are part of that widget, uh, and then we can specify specific properties in that widget when we are defining them, and then we can arrange them. So we have physical aspects and the layout aspects to describe a UI using these widgets. And then the other thing is a hierarchy based on the composition. So what do you mean by the hierarchy? If you can remember from our first application that we have developed, in that we have look at that main.dart, and then we create the um, material app, and inside the material app we have a scaffold, and inside the scaffold we have the body and other parts. So this is the structure of, or the hierarchical composition of the elements which are present inside our first app, or the basic app that automatically generated by the Flutter framework for us. So on the top we have the material app, then it contains one child which is called the scaffold. Scaffold has multiple childs, AppBar or body, and a floating action button. Inside the body, we have a center, and inside the center, we have a column, uh, and then it contains two different texts. So if we talk about more, so we talk about the scaffold, because this is what you can say that it is the part, it is something which we have, which represent that whole screen which is visible to the user. And then it is a layout structure of a material design, and it can contains the application bar, it can contains a main part or the body, which actually the main area where you want to show some user interfaces for the interaction to the user. Then we also have a bottom navigation bar. At the bottom, you can give some buttons so that you can navigate between different screens or the pages within that same application. We also have a bottom sheet. Bottom sheet is more like it is bringing up some information, some temporary information, not that important. But we are, for example, you are downloading a file from the internet. So bottom sheet can come up and tell you that that download has finished for temporarily, and then it will disappear. We also have a drawer, left drawer. So it gives you some more information, some more action buttons. Uh, and then you can also navigate from one screen to the other using that one. And drawer is more like a drawer, a small drawer for which is coming from the right side of the screen. And then we also have the floating action button that we have seen in our last application. So let's AppBar focus on describing the current page and provide one or two essential actions. Displays labels and the page navigation controls, four different types. It exists inside our new Material 3 framework or specification. Search app bar, small, medium, and flexible, and large flexible. So here are some example, or you can see that we have the search bar right on top, then we have a small, then we have a medium. So based on our requirement, we can decide which type of the app bar we want to use. The next is the structure of that app bar. So first of all, it will be present inside a container, and that container contains everything which is visible on that app bar. Then we have a heading. It is more like a title or something that we want to display as a text. And then we have some trailing icons, which to the right side of that title or the text. And then we have some one leading icon that can be used to show the drawer from the left side so that we can have more navigation or more action things inside it, or we can use it for the navigation purposes like going back to the previous screen. So this is for the scaffold. Then we have the navigation bar. So navigation bar or the bottom navigation bar, you can say that. So navigation bar, it is from 3 to 5. It is recommended that you don't have more than 5 buttons or my 5 actions inside it. So that is mostly used to navigate from one page to the other in the same application. And if you want to learn more, you can click on that specific material design link, and then you can see that more details about that. The next is a navigation drawer. I mean, we talk about the navigation drawer. If we click on that specific button here, then you can go to the navigation bar here, or you can go to that. So navigation bar is coming up, and then we have two different types. One is the uh, standard navigation drawer, which is more like covering the whole screen. And then we have a modal navigation drawer, which leaves some space, and then the back of the or the screen or the page, which is visible behind that one, it is a little bit obscured. And then we have, so this is the way that we can show the navigation drawer. I mean, of course, right now I'm giving you the different structures which are present in the scaffold, and we can use them, or we want to use all of them or some of them, depending on our requirement. And then we have the structure of that one. Of course, the whole thing is contained in a container. And then we have the heading, then we have the label text, then we have some icon, then we have active indicator that this specific action is active. We have a badge label text, for example, in the inbox, how many unread emails are there, 24. So you can say that. We also have a screen. I mean, the behind that navigation drawer, the background, or you can say that the page behind that, it is obscured or the dim. So if you want to learn more, then you can click on that link, and then you can go over there. Then we have a bottom sheet, as I told you, that is this shows some additional or the secondary contents. And then again, we have two types of the bottom sheet. One is a standard where the background page is also properly visible, and but in the model, it has been obscured from the user. Then, of course, we have the fab, which is a uh, floating action button. And then in the floating action button, we have the main purpose is that people should be able to do the following using the assistive technologies like navigate to and activate the floating action button and perform an action that is associated with that button. If you learn more, then of course you can click on that learn more link, and then it will give you some more details about that. So once we finish, and this is the scaffold, it has different parts, and then again, depending on our requirement, we can use different parts, not all of them. So if we want to only use the body, then we can do that. If we want to use the application by app bar and the body, we can use that. The next thing that we want to discuss here, or we want to explain, is the types of the widgets. So we have two types of the widgets: stateless widgets, and these are, we can say that, the pure immutable widgets, because in the beginning I told you that the widget is an immutable component. So once it has been created, the instance of that class has been created, then it is cannot be changed after that. If we look on the other side, we have a stateful widget, the second type of that widget. In that, we have two parts. One is a widget itself, or what you can say that the immutable part, and then the second part in that widget is also a state. It also has a state which can change as frequently, as many times as possible, or we want to do it. And if you remember our first application, we have that plus button, or plus fab, or floating action button, in which we click on that one, and then it will change the counter how many times we have clicked on it. So that is a stateful widget, which is changing the state, or the how many times we have clicked. So that is a state. So in the stateful widget, we have two parts. One is related to the widget, and the other one is related to the state. Inside the state, the information can change, but inside the widget, they will remain constant, and it is becomes immutable. But state can change as many times as it is. So it is more like a mixed. The stateful widget is a mixed, but the widget part, the instance of that class that we want to create, and then inside that class we have a state. So state can change, but widget cannot change. So it makes things more easier and more certain when we are opening different applications, and then we are creating different type of widgets. So when they are immutable, then it makes things certain, and then there is no confusion in that one. So we will see, we will come back to this later. So if in the next slide, we are talking about that video link which I have given here. And what I will do, I will also put these slides. I will also put the code that we are looking at here, all in the GitHub. So in my repository for this course, and then you can access it. And I will also put that link inside the video description, so you can do that. But definitely, I'm not going to play this video because of the copyright issue. So you can go to that YouTube channel of the Flutter or the Google, and then you can see that. So we will go skip that one, and then here they are explaining the stateful widget. So you can directly learn from the Flutter team, which is managing and building these beautiful or the intelligent widgets. So you can learn from that. So again, I will not play the video due to the copyright issues. Now we understand the scaffold. Scaffold is more like representing one sheet, and it will help us to organize the things, and it has different parts. Then we talk about the widgets. We have two types of widgets. One is the stateless widget, which does not have any state, or maybe you can say you want to show some text. For example, the text that is you are showing in the app bar, I mean, it hardly change. Okay, so when it is hardly changed, so it is more like a constant. So we can say they are the stateless widget. But we also have the state full widgets, in which we have the state. Widget does not change after the instantiation of that instance of that class, but the state can change as many times as possible. So layout is also implemented as a widget inside the Flutter. So that's why we call everything is a widget. Even the functionalities, even the things that we want to do, they are also kind of a uh, uh, the widgets. So size and position, so layout will help us to what will be the size of that visual element which is visible to the user on the screen, and what will be the position of that element on the screen. So layout models are widgets. Again, as I told you, layout elements which help us to decide about the size and the position of the visual elements inside our user interfaces. They are also a kind of a widget. For example, rows. Rows is a layout widget will help us to organize different components, for example, images or the text, into a horizontal direction, one after the other. So they are in, so for example, if I just say that we have one element here, and then the next element will go to the right, and so on. So that is the direction of the organization of those elements is in the uh, horizontal direction. On the other hand, the column is more like an element where we are organizing the elements vertically. So all these widgets, all these visual elements are organized in the vertical direction, and that is called a column. So this is our row, and this is our column organization of the elements. And then of course the grid is more like we are putting them into a tabular form. So layout widgets that arrange, constrain and align the visible widgets. Column arrange the elements in the vertical direction, rows arrange the elements in the horizontal direction. So these are some informations about. So here is an example. So we have a row. So it means that row, the components within the row have arranged the elements into the. So if I say this is our row and this contains columns, so we have one, column two, column three. So these are the columns, and they are organized in the horizontal direction because of that row. Okay, and then inside these columns we have text and icons, which are designed vertically. Inside the column, we have designing the things that is coming vertically. So we have an icon, and after that, it is followed by a text. So this is how we can arrange the things. Okay, and then I will show you practically how we can do that. But this is how we can organize. So we have row, and which can contain the um, multiple elements that it can arrange into the horizontal direction. And then again, inside the column, we also have the multiple childs or the sub components or sub widgets, or the child widgets, you can say that, which are organized into the vertical direction. So layout constraints, size and position of any widget are constrained by its parent. So whenever the child wants to have its position and the size, it will ask the parent how I should. For example, in the scaffold, we have the AppBar. So AppBar will ask the scaffold, okay, what will be my size and where will be my position? So they are coordinating the child and the parent with each other. So cannot have any size. I mean, the child cannot say that, oh yeah, I want to have add that this size, I want to have this position. It depends on the constraints which are coming or which are inherited from its parent. Okay, so parent and the child work together to find out the exact size and the position of a widget. Size and position can determine in cooperation with the parent. Constraints is a set of the four doubles. What are the double? What is the minimum and the maximum width? And what is the minimum and the maximum height? So this is one constraint we're talking about. Then everything that we see is a box, is a rectangular. We have the four sides, five-sided. It could be a rectangle, uh, it could be a square as well. Okay, but it is a four-sided figure. It is a box, which are rendered by, which are being shown on the screen using the render box class, which is present. So if you click on that, I mean, if I just do that, and if we click on this one, it will take you to the API Flutter class for this render box class, the documentation of that one. Then it has three different types. One is the try to be as big as possible. Like, for example, we have a center, we have a list view, and then we have seen the center in our previous lecture and over the video, and then the demo where we have put our column into the center, and then it actually cover the whole screen, and then the things are right in the center of the screen, which are child of that center. So we also have a list view. Again, it will try to be as big as possible depending on the available space. Same size as child, transform and opacity. So whatever the size of the child is, the parent will also have the same size. And then we also have try to be specific size like image or text. They are very specific depending on its contents. Or maybe we can specify the size of the image like height and width. We also have some other containers vary from the type to type based on the constructor arguments. And then by default, that container is also try to be as big as possible, but it is not always the case. It depending on its parent in which that container exists. So based on that, it will try to assume the size and the position. We also have row and column again vary based on the constraints that they are given or depending on the parent constraints. So this is our box type. And then the next thing, we say that everything is in the hierarchical, composition. We have on the top, we have the material app, then we have a scaffold. Inside the scaffold, we have an app bar. In the scaffold, we also have a body. In the scaffold, we also have a floating action button. So we have two types in terms of the child. We have two types of the widgets: single child layout widgets, which can contain only one child. So here are some examples: align, center, contain box, container, padding, size box, transform. So all these can only have one child, and then they can apply the layout on that layout constraints, the like size and the positions on that single child only. Okay, so we have widgets which are can only have one child, and then they can lay out or they can put that element into a specific position and the size inside of a screen. So single child only, they apply the layout on a single child. On the other hand, we also have the layout widgets which can apply which can apply the layout on the multiple child, or we can say that they can have the children. And if you see the previous example that we have seen, we have a row and the columns. They have children, not single child. Okay. So again, similarly, we also have a scaffold, which scaffold also has multiple childs. So all these are the examples of these multi-child layout widgets, which can organize the multiple children's according to their layout and constraint. And if you click on that specific link, I will just quickly open up that layout here. So these are the single layout widgets. So you can see that it is not what I have given you. There are more than that. So you can click on that and get more information about that. We also have the multiple child layout widgets. So again, you can see there are a lot of widgets are there. So let's go back. Okay, so based on the number of childs, we have two types of widgets for the layout widgets. Number one, single child layout widget, and the multi-child layout widgets. Now we talk about, we also have a stateless widgets, we also have a stateful widgets. So let us create a stateless widget, which is the more simpler as compared to the stateful widget. So what I'm going to do, I will create a new application. So for that one, I need to open the VS Code. Let me VS Code, new window. I want to. So this is our new window that you can see. And then because I want, so I say Control Shift P, and then I say we want to enter a new project. And here I say, yes, I want to create an application. He said that where you want to create that one. So let me say that it is a Flutter underscore we can say that lecture 2 underscore layout. So I have just given this application that name. Okay. So once I select this folder, no, I just need to create this as a name of that folder. We will select this folder, and it is asking me that I want to create. So I will here, I copy paste that one. I flutter underscore lecture 2, and then I press enter. When I press enter, it is starting creating that application for me. So what we want to do in that one, in the meanwhile, it is creating that one. So once it is done, we are more interested in the lib folder, and then here we have a main.dart. And if you look at that, it has created all these application. And then let me quickly run my what you can say that the Android emulator, Android virtual device, and then I will also bring it here as well. Okay, so it is working and it is coming down here. So let me quickly, or we say that I want to organize that thing here, and then I want to do something like this. So in the meanwhile, it is trying to be organized that or open that one. Let's go back to our slides. And then you can see that we have what we want to create. We want to add a asset, or it is an image that we want to add inside. So how we can do that? Inside our uh, folder, inside our project folder, we are going to create a folder assets. It is not necessary. You can give any name, for example, directly images. But I say assets, and inside the assets folder, I want to create another image, which is the images, because it is a possibility that we have the assets, like maybe we have videos that we want to play in our application. So you can create a video folder inside it, and you can place your videos. The good thing about that asset is when these assets are the part of your application installation or APK file, or the installer file, you can say that simple install. So these assets are the part of your application installer, and they are installed or downloaded on your computer or your app mobile devices, and they are present as a part of your application. So these are the assets. Okay, so we want to create this one asset, which is the image. And first of all, we will be creating, so let me check quickly. Yes, our and then go back here. So let me quickly do one thing here. I'm here and I want to create a new folder here. I give him the name assets, and then inside the assets, I want to create another folder and we call it images. So here you can say that we have the asset, and then inside we have the images. And then what I need to do next is to not this one. So I will just open up my uh, this one, and I have this image here. If I just go here, I go to the code, I have this application, and inside I have this image. So I will just copy this image, and this image I want to put where I want to put our here. So we have created the assets folder, and inside the assets folder, we have images, and we are putting that one. So once we have done that, you can see that we have that image here. The next thing that I want to do uh, here is open my the pub/spec.yaml. And in the pub/spec.yaml, we need to find out a place where we have the assets, and we need to what you can say that uncomment that part. And then here we rather than we have two, we have only one, and then we say we have assets, and then we have images, and then we can put slash at the end. It means everything that is present in that image we want to. And now if you look at that, does not exist, try okay, we have the images folder, not the image. Yep. So let me quickly save it. Do we have IMAG? Yes, we have this one. So the next thing that I want to do, I can we can say that we need to tell our project that we have added a few things here. So the one thing we can do here, we can either say get packages. So we can also have the different packages that we want to. We can in the future we'll see that we will be adding more packages here. So if we want to, whenever we are changing the pub spec, or we will save it, then we need to make sure that we say get packages. If we are adding new packages, we are adding the assets, so that will become more aware, our project will aware of those things. And then the other thing that is, we can run on the terminal, and then I will just try to open that git bash, and then here we can run the command flutter pub get. So either we run this command or we can click on this button. They will do the same thing. So let me run this command here. So you will see that it is going to say that yes, everything is done. So now let me quickly run this application. we want to run that specific application. So for that one, we have look number one thing, we need to make sure which device we want to connect. So we are connected with that Android virtual device. So we want to run it. Of course, because when we are running it for the first time, it take a little bit longer time, and it will run that application for me. The next thing, let me go back while it is trying to run that thing. So we have done that specific part. We have created the folder. We have copied that image in that folder, and then I have downloaded that specific image from this link. And I also try to resize that image and make it more like a square. So that is the only thing that I have done. So you can download from that image, and then you can get that image as well. Nice looking image from the branding from the Flutter. So the next thing, we already have done that specific part as well. We have changed our pubspec.yaml, and then we also run that command. Either we click on that button to get those assets, or we can run this command in the command line. They do the same thing for us. So now we want to create a borderless image. So what we want to do here, if I just quickly, still it is trying to run that thing. So what I'm trying to do here, while it is still creating that assembly, so we, inside our lib folder, okay, we are creating a new folder, and then here we name it widgets. So the other thing that I would like to emphasize here, that all the folder names and the resources name, they should be in the lowercase letters. In the app, if you look at that whole the naming conventions, so all the files and the folders, they are in the lowercase. And if you want, like here we say flutter underscore lecture underscore layout, so I'm specifying things. So why? Because of the in the Linux and the Mac operating system, which is also based on the Linux OS, so they are more into the the small cap, and if there's a capital, it creates some problems. So cross-platform compatibility issues. So we will always, whenever we want to create a folder or we want to create a resource, that should be named in the lowercase letters. And if we have the multiple words, then we can separate using the underscore. For example, I want to create a new file inside the widget. And what we want to create, we want to create a bordered image. So we say bordered underscore image dot lab. And then here, the first thing that I would like to import, I would like to import the material. Okay. And the other thing, I don't want to do that. I say FL. Uh, we can say that stateless widget. So if you look at that, we have a two, stateless widget or the stateful widget. So because we want to create a stateless widget, so we select that option. I just type STL, and then I do that. So when I do that, now if you look at that, it asks me that you can give the name of that class. So I say bordered image, and then we can control S. So once we done that, so we have created that one. The next thing I would like to show you here is that, so first of all, I want to create some private or some properties or the variables within that stateless widget. And then you can say that why we are having the variables, because it is stateless, we cannot change the values, and that's why we put the final keyword in front of those variables. So we need, why we need this, because we want to specify what will be the width of the border, what will be the color of that border, and if we want to make it more rounded image, then we can see that. So border radius, and then what will be the size of that image that we want to create here. So we will have these what you can say that we will have these variables here. So we will make them final. So we say final, we say double, and then we say it is a border width, and then we are using the camel case, and then we also have the final, and then we have a color, and then we say border color. And then we have a final, and then that is the radius. So again, it's a double value, and we say border radius. And the next thing is the again final, and then we say it is a double, and then we can say that image, and then we have size. So the other thing, because all of these variables are final, so we have to make sure that we are putting that specific, we are initializing these what you can say that we are initializing these final variables. So we say border width, border width, and that will be, for example, I said 2.0. So because a double value, I need to put a solid here. Then we have a border, and then we have a color value, and that will be we need to say that it is equal to colors dot, I say blue gray. Yeah, and we want to do that. And then we say we have a border radius, and that will be equal to, for example, I say 10.0. And then the last thing that we want to do here is the image size. So image size is equal to, we can say that maybe 100.0, and that's all. So if we look at that, so it's a final variable must be initialized, but border color. So where is the border color? Is not initialized. Border radius. Oh, okay. We say border radius. Okay. So we have a bordered image, and then inside we have image size, and then we have the bordered radius, and I also need to put this dot. We need to put this dot, and then we also need to put this dot. So we are specifying that in this event we are trying. So now you can see that when we put that one, so we are initializing these final variables at the when we are creating the instance of our class. So the other thing, if we just do that, and let me bring my so you can see that we have this application. So if I go into the main.dart, and then I change a few things here. Number one thing, I just don't want to do anything here. And this is creating a stateless widget. So let me uh, remove that widget from here. And then of course it is say that we don't have any widgets right now. So let me, what you can say that remove that part. And now, first of all, let me, what you can say that complete that thing. So we can say that we have a container, and inside the container we are putting the width and height part. We are specifying the width and height, and then inside the is image size plus the border. So if you look at what you can say that an image, so image has the height and width, okay, and then the border is the additional. It will be on the both sides of the image. It is on the left and right, and it is also on the top and the bottom. So that's why we are putting these two values. So first of all, what I want to do here, I want to return what you can say that container, number one thing, and then we need to specify the width, and that will be equal to the image size plus uh, 2 multiplied by 2 multiplied by the border width. Okay, so we can just replicate that thing here, and then we can say this is our height. Okay, so we have specified the height and the width of that container. The next thing that we need to specify is the decoration, because we want to put the border around it. So we have a decoration. So decoration property of the container. So we say decoration, and then we say box decoration, and inside the box decoration we have the border and the border radius. So we say border is equal to border dot all, and then we are specifying the color. Color will be the border color that we have specified here, and the width is equal to the border width that we have specified here. So we say color, and then it will be the border color, and then the next thing is the width, and that will be border width. Okay, so once we have specified, the next thing that we want to specify is the border radius. So we can simply say that it is the uh, border radius dot circular, border radius, not dot circular, dot circular, and then here we say border radius, that double value. So we have specified that thing, number one thing. So inside the container, what we did so far, we are specify the size of that image, well, like using the size of that container, using the width and height. Then we tell that we want a border around it. And the next thing that we want to specify is the child of that specific widget. Because what will be, and as if you remember from our slides, this container is a single child layout widget. So it can only have one child. So we can say image, and then we say we want to build, we want to show an image from our asset. So we also have image, we have also for image from a file, image from the memory, image from the network. So right now we are talking about an image from the asset because we have already added our assets here. So when we do that, so now we need to give the name of that one. So first of all, it will be like assets slash images, and then the name of the is a Flutter underscore bird, which I have given it, and then it is set. So once we do that, and then we are specifying inside that image, we are not only specifying, we also specify the width, which is the image size, and then we also specify the height, which is also the image, the same. We want to show it as a what you can see that as a square. So we build that one. So once we have created, now you can see that we have imported our material dart, and we have created a stateless widget, which bordered image class, which is the child of our stateless widget. And then inside we have declared these final variables. And then because these are the final variables, they must be initialized inside the constructor of that class, number one thing. And the second thing is we have from the stateless widget, it is returning a it build a widget and return that thing. So we have a build method which is already present in the parent class, which is a stateless widget, and then we are overriding that specific function using the what you can say that the inheritance and implementing that thing inside here. And here we are returning a container which contains an image inside, and around that container we are putting the we are putting the border. Okay, so this is the border stateless bordered or stateless or bordered image, which is a stateless widget. So congratulations, we have developed or we have built our first. And on the other hand, if we look at our application, and then there's a problem. Why? Because we have done this part. Because now it says that I don't understand which is the my home page. So let's go back to the slides first, okay? And then we talk about here where why it is not going to the next slide. Let me quickly go to the slides here. Okay, here, and then we can click that. So it is going quickly. So now we have done, we have created our stateless widget class. We declare the variables, we initialize those variables in the constructor of that class. Whenever we are constructing that class, we will automatically initialize these final variables. And then finally we are returning a container which contain an image and with a border around it. The next thing that we will need to do inside the lab, we also want to create a pages folder, and inside we want to create a home underscore page dot dart language, and in which we are going to create another stateless widget, and that will be more like a scaffold or page that is going to be used here. Okay, so let's come back here, And then here inside the lib, I want to create a new folder. I will say that pages, and inside the pages folder, I want to create a new file, and I say home underscore page dot. And then here again, I say simply st the stateless widget. When I do that, it automatically creates this for me. So here I say home page, and then we save it. And then inside, rather than we have a place folder, we want to going to return a scaffold. So we can say that, let me remove that part, not this one. Let me quickly remove this part, and then we say scaffold. And inside the scaffold, we have the app bar. And inside the app bar, we are specifying the background color, and we are specifying the title. Okay, so application bar, that is an app bar. And here we say that we are specifying the background color. And then here we are say theme dot off, and then we are giving the context, and then we are say dot after that one dot color scheme. Okay, color scheme dot primary color. Okay, so and then we uh, we are giving that primary color. Okay, we can also specify dot primary, and then we are giving the title of this one. So we say uh, no, we need to give that one inside this one. We say title, and then inside the title we can give something. It is a text. It is a text, and this text would be like we say layout app. We want to building some layouts, and then the style. We are specifying the style, so we have a text style, and then text style we are specifying the color, and then we say that uh, colors dot white. Let me what you can say that let me remove that style first. Okay, just keep it like that. And then okay, we are what we are. Okay, we just need to do that. Yep. So we have this one. So we have this specific app bar, and then we are scaffold. So rather than we say that here we have a home, we want to create a home page. And when we do that, and then we save our application, or maybe I need to rerun that application, and then hopefully we will be looking at the app bar. So you can see that we have the layout app here. And then here, if you look at that, inside this main zone, so we have colors dot purple. So if I just say that blue, for example, and save it, so you can see our theme color is being changed from purple to the blue. We can also say green, a green accent. So it is going to like that. So you can see that even because here we are changing the theme color inside our theme. So we can do that kind of a stuff here. Okay. So now the end, we have only put the what you can say that inside we scaffold, we have put the app bar, which is visible. We can see that. And the next thing that we want to do here, if you look at our uh, what you can say that. So we have the, and then inside the body, we are putting the bordered image. Okay. So we can say that after app bar, not app bar, we once we, where the app bar is finished. So if we look at that, we have a scaffold, and inside the scaffold, we have the app bar. And after the app bar, we want to put a body. And here I say our bordered image. Okay. So bordered image. And then when we do that, and then we want to open up. So did we see the, okay, just return the container. Why we are not seeing that thing? Okay, so let me again. So we are here, and then we are body is equal to bordered image. Yes, we have done that. So why it is not visible to our. Okay, now we are doing that. Our app layout app is visible, and then we say constant, and then we are say home page. When you say home page, and then we are body, we are putting the bordered, and it will automatically show up here. So we are putting the bordered image. Okay. So let me what I need to do, I mean, because I have already done that. So we have material with demo Flutter. We also change the things here. Constant home page. We have already done that. So we inside the main we call the home page, and then we come here, and then inside the home page we are putting that to return the scaffold. So we are returning the scaffold application bar. Inside the body we are putting the bordered image, and that should be going up here inside our application, and then it should be, because it is okay, let me stop that application and then rerun that our main.dart and see if it is coming up or not. Or we can also try to run the Widget. So let's see how it goes. It's coming up quickly. Okay. Flutterbird underscore PNG. We need to make sure that we are writing the right name, and it should be, otherwise it should have given us the error message here. In the output, there's nothing. In the terminal, everything is done. Connection timed out. Refresh. So now you can see that it is coming as a placeholder, but it is not showing me in the file. So that is what we need to look into. We are talking about, so again, we have the assets, ASS. Okay, it is assessed. No, we have make the spelling mistakes here. So if you look at that, it assessed. And then in the assessed, we have images. So let me fix that specific part from here, and then come here inside the, what you can say, then go to the above folder. And then instead I do that, I say assets. And inside the asset, we have images images. So it looks good to me. The other thing is that we need to go into the pub specs, and rather than we have the assets, so we say assets, we save it, and then inside the terminal, we rerun that command again. Okay, so it looks good. And then we can refresh our page here. Hot restart not working, so let me again rerun that application, rather than, maybe because we are updating the pub specs, getting the packages and so on, so maybe that's the reason that it is not showing up. So let's wait for some time and then see how it goes. So we can see that, though we need to make sure that we are putting the right things. We also need to put the right name here as well, so you can see that image. Okay, where is my debug console? Still working on, application timed out. Let me refresh it. It's coming up. Now the point is, where is my image? Now it is show that it is, the image is being, we have assessed again we have assets here. Refresh it again, it is giving me that, oh yes, finally we have got that image. So we are here. So I mean, if you look at that in the body, I just put that one container, and that container, based on the child, it has its size. Okay, and then it also have the what you can say that it also has the border around that image. So if I put that as a child of the center that we have seen in our sample app or the first app, so we say we have center, and inside I put the child is equal to this. So if I do that and save it, you can see that it is going into that. So let's quickly we go to the slides, and then yeah, we have already done that. The main part we have changed it. The now let me again first, what we did, we make that widget, that stateless widget, which contains an image and it put a border around that image. The next thing is we created a home page, and inside we put a home page, or one page, you can say that, or one screen, you can say that. We have the app bar, we have a body, and inside the body, first of all, we put the only that specific what you can say, the only specific uh, image, so it will just go on the top left corner automatically. But when you put it as a child of the center, then it becomes the center of the screen. Okay, and center is trying to cover the whole screen, so it is try to have the width equal to the screen of the device, and then it will try to have the height as the height of the device, and put the contents which are inside that child is as the center of that one. Okay, so this is what we have done so far. And then in the main, we delete everything except that in the home, we are saying that home page is equal to this page that we have just created. So inside the dart, we tell what is our home page. We also see that if we change this color, then it will also change. For example, I put that blue accent, blue this one. So you can see that when I save it, it is going to come this one. We can also say blue, material blue, and then it is going into that one. So it is changing that theme color of our application. Then we have a home, and then we have, now we will be working more on that home, because we want to see different type of the layout widgets, how we can lay out the things together. So this is one. This is a center, we have already seen that. Then we can put into the column. So now how we can write the column. So let me copy this particular specific part, because this is not going to change. Okay, now here, instead in the body, rather than I put center, I say I want to put a what you can say that, a column. When I put a column, and as I told you, the center is a single child layout widget, but column is a multi-child layout widget. In the center, we specify child, but in the column, actually, we are going to specify the children, and that will be actually an array. So we can paste that 1, 2, 3, and so on. So when we specify that thing, and let me open up so you can see we can have um, three different images. First image, second image, and third image. So even I can put more, I can just put more, and Control S, it will put more image over there. And if I just try to add one more here, and then you can see that it is adding all those elements into a vertical direction, arranging them into a vertical direction. And if I just we have this whole column, I Control X, and if I put in the center, and then I put it here. Okay, how I can put, I need to put a child, and so I say child is equal to column, and then we need to remove that. So if you look at that, now it is going into the center or horizontally. Okay, so this is one thing. So if I just like here, we say column, and then we put that column into a center, then it will go horizontal center. We also have the rows. So what I need to do, uh, okay, what's discard it, or I just want to rerun my slides here. So here, I would say that I will go back here, and then I want to, rather than having a column, I would say that I want to put that into the, uh, I just remove that part, and then I say row, and here again I have children, and then I can put what I need to put that one here. Okay, I just Control X, Control Z, Control Z, and I put that one here. And then I say this, again this, and if we look at that, and then we'll try to open our Android Studio, so you can see that our elements are going into that direction. So again, I just what you can say that I say center, and that will be not children. I just need to, okay, let me cut from here, and then I say center, and inside the center we have a child, and I put that row as a child of that one. So you can see that it is coming into the vertical into the what you can say that into the vertical center of that screen. So we are putting into the center. So let me quickly go back to the slides. So we are putting row, then we are putting row inside the center. It is going into the center of that vertical center of the screen. And then if we look at the row and the column, the main axis of the column is the vertical axis, and the cross axis is actually the horizontal axis. And on the other side, row is the main axis, and the horizontal axis is the main axis of the row, and the vertical axis is the cross axis of the row. So actually what we are saying here, this is the main direction of the elements in which we are arranging it. So that's why we call it a main axis, and this is the cross axis for that one, because it is crossing that uh, main direction of the elements or the arrangement of the elements. Here, similarly, this is the main direction of the arrangement of elements or the widgets, but this is the cross axis for that one. So they are different in the column and then we can also specify that how we can organize the elements. We can align those elements against the cross axis or the main axis. So if we look at that here, if we put the center and then we also say column and then we put the border axis, then we can have something like this inside the column. We say that we in the main axis we want to put into a center, so it will go into the center. Okay, so if I just quickly go back to my here, so rather than having it a row, I will say it is a column. So now if you look at that, it automatically going into the center. And then here, if I say main axis alignment, I say main axis alignment dot center. So it become like this. We also have some other options in this one. So main axis dot alignment space around, it is leaving the space around the elements. So we can also say space between. So when I say that, it does not leave the space on the edges, but between the elements it leaves some space. Or we can say space evenly, and in that case it is going to try to leave the space in all sides of the direction. So here we have different options. So we have center, we also have the space evenly. Okay, but then we also have the space between, then it will go like that, or the space uh, around. In that case, is we have space around or space even. Okay, so let me go back to the center and then save it. So now you can see that. And similarly, if we put that into a row, change that into a arrangement into a row, and then put, so it will also come into the center on the horizontal main axis. Okay, well, that is the one thing. Okay, so let me go back to the slide so you can see that we have, when we put the main axis alignment, it comes into the center. Before it was like this, because of the center it go to the vertical center of the screen, and then sorry, horizontal center of the screen. And then when we do that, it is also coming into our center, making it horizontal according to the horizontal center, and then main axis it is making it the center to the uh, vertical center. Similarly, for the row, when we put in the center, automatically come into the vertical center of the screen. But when you put the main axis alignment, it also becomes the center of the screen horizontally as well. So, but the point is that if we have the main axis alignment and the cross axis alignment to the center, then it should go into the center like this. I mean, like this. It should be like this. I mean, if I just remove that specific part, let me remove that one. And then we also need to remove this where we are closing that center part. Now, if we look at that, it is going there. So if I when I say main axis, so main axis mean which is the horizontal direction. But if I say cross section, cross section alignments, and I say cross section alignment then center, when I do that, it is not doing anything. The reason is that because the size of that row, it is increasing in terms of the what you can say that it is covering the whole width of the screen, but not covering the whole height of the screen. But on the other hand, if we have a column, it is covering the whole height of the screen, but not the width. I mean, for example, if I just convert that into the column, so it is coming into the center according to the main axis, but not the cross axis. So you can say that if I just go back to the slides here, so if I look at that, I mean, because we are talking about the row, so we are saying that because it is a row, it is covering the complete width of the screen. And because then we put that, what you can say that this alignment make it the center of the screen because it is a main axis. Okay. But if we try to align the cross axis, it is not going into the center because as we can see here, that it is not. So, I mean, this, okay, this is a column. So let me make it a row as well. So let me quickly go here and then make it a row so that you can see the difference here. So if I go back here and then bring my, so now you can see that. So because here we have removed this part is not here, okay? We have removed this center part, and then we are having a row, and then we apply the main axis alignment to the center, and then we also apply the cross axis alignment on the center. When I say cross axis alignment on the center, actually this is the place where our row is. And because its height is only according to the contents or the images, so it is not moving up and down or it is not coming. But if we may somehow make sure that this container, which is containing that row, it covers the whole screen, then definitely this cross section or the cross axis alignment will also work. Okay. The first thing that I would like to convert here, we have different options that we have already seen. We can align it to center and or space around or space between or space evenly or start and so on. Then we also have this one. So we can put a container. So now actually what we are doing, we are trying to make a container. And then we say that that container should be the height of the complete screen. Okay. So what I need to do here, I just, rather than having that row into a, uh, I just cut it down. And then I say we have a container, and inside the container I am putting a margin, and then that margin is the edge inside all. I will 8.0, and then we also put a padding here, and then we also say that edge inside all is 8.0. I'm just putting some padding and the margin. So we will talk about that soon. And then we have a decoration. So we, let me copy that decoration because we are putting the let me put one thing here, the child that we have copied. So we will put that one here and do that. And then we, if I look into my, we also have, we are putting some padding here, and then we have child. So let me quickly put that one here and putting it inside this. So I just do that. Rather than the border color, we say colors, not color, we say colors dot blue or blue gray. Okay, so we are, or maybe I can say blue. Okay, so we say blue, and then width is I would say that's 2.0. So when I do that, then we have the border radius, then where I put 20 here, and then Control S, border radius, decoration, where I'm making some, okay, we have width. It should be, I have just copied it from here, so it's the width column. We have bordered of all. Okay, why it is covering up? Or yeah, we don't want to put the. So if we look at that, it is. So now the next thing that I want to do, that I want to increase the height of that, and then I say that I want to use the height of is equal to the media query. Okay, so I say media query, and then we say that the media query dot off. We don't want to media query dot off media dot off, and then we are giving the context, and then we are saying that dot size, and then from that size we are saying getting the height. So when I do that, so now you can see that because of this container which contained this row, the size is equal to the height of the screen. And in that case, if we put the cross axis alignment, it is going to the center of the vertical center. But otherwise, if it is not the case, and this is the, what you can say that we have this. So because the container or this row that cover the whole screen, width of the screen, but not the height, so it will remain to in the center of the horizontal because it is the size is like this, but it is not going into the vertical center. But if we just make sure that this container is having the height of the whole screen, it will automatically apply that cross section as well, cross alignment things as well. So this is one. Let me go quickly. So we have done that. So you can see that why it was the cross axis alignment was not working when we just have a row, and it is not going into the vertical center of the screen. So now come to that we have the position, which is the top left corner, and then we have a size, which is the height and width of that box. And then we have the padding. Padding is more like the contents, the things which are inside that box or that widget. That is called the content or the child, you can say that. Okay. And then the empty space between the border of that widget or the box to the content is called padding. And if we talk about the space between two widgets or two widget boxes, then it's called the margin. The next thing I would like to say here, that if we add more, if I just come back here and then I add more, what you can say that I will add more here, and then you can see that it is telling me that your screen is going out of the uh, so it is going 41 pixels out of that right of the screen. So now uh, this is what you can see. This is a problem. There is some part of the GUI or the graphical user interface which is not accessible to the user. Because, for example, if I just try to put one more, uh, you know, uh, here I just try to put one more or a few more, then you can see that how many the pixels it is out of. So it say that there are some part of the screen or the part of the GUI elements which are not visible to the user, and there is no way that the user can access those elements because we don't have any kind of a scrolling part here. Okay, we cannot scroll it left and right, so we cannot access it. So there are two different ways to solve that problem. Okay, the one problem is that we can have the expanded widget which dictate how much space a widget should take up relative to its the sibling. So we are putting, rather than we are putting the what you can say that we are rather than we are putting the uh, bordered images like that, we are putting them into the, let me remove all these, this one. And then rather than I have this, I will just do that. And I say expanded. Okay, when I expand it, I will on the child, I put that one. So when I do that, so you can see that it is trying to expand itself. And now if I just try to, what you can say that, let me put it down there and then here, and then I put a comma here, and then I put the some elements here. And when now you can see that it is trying to squeeze those images inside the available space. So this is the one way to solve that problem. And but of course, in that case, the if we, for example, if we add more elements here, then save it, then it will become. So either you do that, either we use the expanded button or expanded, what you can say that layout widget, which is again a single layout widget, and then how you can identify it's a single, because in the row, which is a multi-child layout widget, there we are specifying the child and we are giving an array of the widgets. But if it is a widget which can only accept a child property, then we can say that this is a single child widget, single child layout widget. Okay, so this is the one thing that we can put that into the expanded. So if I again just try to remove that part here, and I just try to do that. So now again, when it is giving me the option. So now the point is that if I put here, you know, this is what you can say that, let me go back to the slide. So we have this, so we can put the expanded, and then in this way we can solve our problem that our GUI elements are going out of the screen and the user does not have any way to access those elements. The next thing is that we can put that, uh, we can also put a flex property in which a specific element can be the double of the size or the triple of the size or the half of the size of the other element. So that is also another property that you can look at. Let me quickly show you, or I have changed that one back. So let me quickly show you that. If I just Control Z, Control Z, Control Z, Control we need to do again. Okay, so we have the expanded widgets, and then we can here, for example, this one, I will say flex, and then I put 3 here, for example. So you can see it is a the second widget is the 3 times the size of the other one. So that is another thing. So let me go back to our normal, okay, and then we can have this one. So when we do that, we are out of the screen. The next thing that we need to do is that we have a scrolling view. So we can say single child scroll view, and then we say scrolling direction. It is a, if it is a column, then we say axis is vertical, but here we say it is axis is horizontal. So in that case, again, let me come back here. So I just copy that row completely, and then I say single child scroll view, and then inside I am saying that we need the scroll direction, and that is our axis dot horizontal, and then we also have the child, the what we say child is our row. So let me quickly remove that. Okay. So now if you look at that, I can, because I can scroll it down, so it is removing me that warning message that your screen is, your widget is, or your UI elements are going out of the screen. So this is the a few thing that I, okay. And then the next thing is the references for this video for this lecture. So that's all. I hope you have enjoyed that theory as well as the practical part of the screen. And I will, as I told you, I will put all these code inside the GitHub, and you can find the links inside the description of the video. Thank you very much. That's all for today.